99% of the world's information is stored digitally, and one day it might either be lost or become inaccessible. It's actually tempting to imagine that people in the future will know more about the 21st century than any other previous era in human history. After all, the internet and the digital technology has allowed us to document literally everything. But that's not necessarily true. As a matter of fact, we are living in the digital dark age. So what is the digital dark age? The digital dark age is an idea that the 21st century will one day become an information black hole and that there will be a scarcity of records from our era. And this is how it will happen. The digital dark age has two elements. One is the longevity, and two, the accessibility of our current forms of data storage. The expected lifespan of a DVD, if printed correctly, made with quality, and stored properly, is 100 years. If some or none of these are true, it's barely more than a decade. Now compare that to a 5,000-year-old clay from ancient Mesopotamia. Hard drives, on the other hand, last for 3 to 5 years before they begin to degrade and eventually fail, while solid-state drives rarely last longer than a decade. So unless you transfer the data in your phone or laptops, it will be gone in a dozen years. What about the cloud? One may wonder. Well, information on the cloud is stored on servers, which is also where most digital information is now stored. But servers last for 10 years at most before they need to be replaced. Having considered the DVDs, the hard drives, and the cloud, we may come to one conclusion: that most digital information will either degrade or be lost in less than 2 decades if there is no constant maintenance and management. So all the content online which documents life in the 21st century is far from permanent. Actually, it's quite the opposite. The second problem is that we may actually lose the technology needed to access older forms of digital storage. That may sound silly, but take a look. If you found an old floppy disk and you wanted to access its data, what will you do? Chances are you'll be clueless. And floppy disks is not quite an ancient creation. So imagine if you yourself are clueless, what about someone who probably will come in the next 2 centuries after you? How will you be able to access a technology that you yourself can't access at the current times? And the same goes for DVDs, which are slowly and surely becoming obsolete, just like the floppy disk before them. This also applies to all and obsolete file formats for videos, photographs, audios, and text. They require specific hardware or software to access. And that only points to one direction: that technology is rapidly becoming outdated. Also, it explains why new laptops don't have floppy disk or CD drives. And the evolution of a laptop or personal computer points to a very scary fact: that once we move on from a specialist hardware and software needed to access obsolete forms of data storage, the data becomes locked away, inaccessible, and quickly degrading. All of which means future generations will have a race against time to reverse engineer lost technology, which may not even be possible if current information is to survive. By comparison, you don't need any specific hardware or software to access data in a book or a tablet. Even if it's in a foreign or dead language, you just need time, effort, and talented linguists to understand it. And I think that's the advantage that the ancient men had over us. Another potential issue is that electrical power is required to access digital records, and in the case of servers, it is required almost every time. Power outages can irreversibly damage equipment and corrupt data, and it's for that reason that many companies still use magnetic tapes to back up their data. They last for decades rather than just few years, and they are less prone to the risks of other forms of digital storage. But that doesn't change the fact that they still have a much shorter lifespan and they are less durable than books. There have been numerous attempts around the world to combat the digital dark age, but the sheer volume of data of around 2.5 quintillion bytes created every day make this a very difficult task. So all these things we post online, even this video, may not be around for as long as we'd like to believe. And so to reduce the chances of that happening, I really urge you to share this video with your friends so that they can get to learn about the digital dark age. And with that, my name is Mandisi Ian. I make videos about the things I find interesting. And if they happen to be your cup of tea, then I really urge you to like, subscribe, and comment if you may. And until next time, bye bye.